If you're thinking about buying a Hyperlite tent, there's a lot to choose from. You've got pyramids, freestanding, trekking pole tents. There's a lot of differences between them, and we're going to run through them all now. So we haven't just pulled these tents off the shop floor. That one's mine, these two are Chris's, and that one at the end's Dean's. So between a few of us, we've spent weeks in these tents, testing them out in multiple different conditions, figuring out where their best use cases are. So to name all these tents, we've got the Mid 1, the Ultamid 2, the CrossPeak 2 and the Unbound 2. Now the two to my left, the Mid 1 and the Ultamid 2 are pyramid style tents with a center pole and a classic pyramid shape. The two on my right, the CrossPeak 2 is unique to Hyperlite, it's a fairly new one. It is the freestanding tent, and the Unbound 2 at the end is a trekking pole tent for two people. Starting off with the Mid 1, this is the tent if you want the absolute lightest for one person. This is a solo tent in a pyramid design with a center pole. It's a trekking pole tent, or this is mine and I don't use trekking poles, so I've got the carbon pole that Hyperlite do running up the middle, perfect for solo travelers. The main takeaways with the Mid 1 is it's ultralight, it's easy to set up, it's got a small footprint, and it's a single skin tent with an integrated inner. So here we have the Ultamid 2. This is their most well-known and the oldest tent in the range. Now this is a pyramid design with a trekking pole through the middle. You can get the carbon pole as well for the Ultamid 2. You mainly buy this if you're wanting a very big footprint. It's 4-season use and it's very configurable. You can use this as just the skin, that's how we've got it set up today. You've got a half inner, you've got a full inner, really versatile. Super storm worthy being a pyramid design, and yeah, this is when you want a lot of room if you're solo or if you've got two people with you. Again, you can use either trekking poles or the carbon pole, and with the configuration of multiple different inner options, it's a super versatile tent for 4 seasons. Now these two pyramid tents come with their main guy lines, but they have a bunch of attachments here on the panels to add your own. That's going to add more strength and make them more storm worthy if you come across any nasty weather. Now it's important to note with all of these tents that none of them come with pegs, so it's a consideration you've got to keep in mind. Moving on to the CrossPeak 2, this is the most unique out of all the tents, being the only one that's freestanding. So if you're pitching on uneven ground and you don't have the ability to peg where you want, or if you want to pitch it and then move it around, freestanding is a great option. It's the only one that Hyperlite do. Now you've got plenty of room in this tent for 2 people with double doors and double vestibules on both sides for plenty of gear storage. In addition to having no pegs, this also doesn't come with any guy lines. So these yellow guy lines that we've got on here, they're not included and you've got to buy your own separately. That being said, with the guy lines and pegged correctly, this is a rock solid tent. Super stable in high winds, it's heaps of room for one person and plenty of room for 2. Now the little features across these tents are all pretty similar. They've all got the same vents, they've all got a cool vestibule clip, which means you can change the door configuration. A lot of them have got these magnets for the vestibule. They're all made with Dyneema as well, which is probably the most important part of Hyperlite tents, is they're all super light Dyneema. But yeah, all the little features across all these tents are kind of almost the same. Now the last tent we'll talk about is the Unbound 2. This is a great trekking pole tent. If you already hike with trekking poles, it's an awesome one to have. Plenty of room for 2 people. It's got more headroom than the pyramid style tents, being that there's 2 trekking poles separate. Heaps of gear storage, heaps of internal room, 2 vestibules, heaps of cross breeze if you open both doors up if it's a hot night, and it's also a single skin tent. So ventilation in these types of tent is super important with a single skin. Now again, the Unbound 2 is a trekking pole tent, but they can be substituted with that carbon pole like I've got in the Mid 1. Bottom line with the Unbound 2 is if you're looking for that sort of old school style tent with a bunch of headroom for 2 people, whilst being super lightweight in a single skin option, that's why you'd choose the Unbound. Now let's talk ease of pitch. Minimum amount of pegs with the Mid 1 is 6, plus the center pole. You could get away with 4 if you wanted to not have the vestibule fully pegged out, but 6 pegs is a minimum, plus all the other guy line attachments you've got. Now the Ultamid 2 is a lot more configurable. How I've got it set up here, you can get away with 5 pegs at a minimum, but if you've got the inners, you're going to have to do a lot more clipping and tying down and whatnot. You're also going to have to tie 2 trekking poles together up the middle, but if you've got it configured just as a skin, you can get away with 5 pegs at a minimum. Now the CrossPeak 2 probably takes the longest to set up out of all the tents, just because you've got 3 poles that have got to go through the sleeves. But as a minimum pitch, you need 6 pegs. If you use the guy lines, you're going to need more, but once it's set up, it is absolutely rock solid. Now lastly, the Unbound 2 requires 6 pegs and 2 trekking poles as a minimum to set up. It's super quick to set up as well. Peg it out, whack the trekking poles up, good to go. Now, you've got the option to peg out the bathtub floor with more pegs. Coming over to the CrossPeak, the bathtub floor has these really light guy lines already attached, and as you set it up, this already stretches the bathtub out, which is really nice and easy. So no extra pegs required to peg the bathtub out on the CrossPeak 2. If you want to peg the bathtub out on the Unbound, you need 4 extra pegs. So in summing up, which one is right for you? If you want the absolute lightest for just yourself, for a solo traveler, the mid one's perfect. If you want the sort of the most versatile tent with a lot of different inner options and being the most storm worthy, the Ultamid 2 is the one for you. The only freestanding tent, if you just want a freestanding tent, that solves that question pretty quickly with the CrossPeak 2. And lastly, if you hike with trekking poles or with 2 people and you want the absolute maximum space, choose the Unbound 2. So there you have it. Hopefully with all these tents set up next to each other, it gives you a better idea of which one's going to be right for you. If you've got any other questions, feel free to leave a comment below, give the shop a call, or come and check them out in store.